सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Yeah, we will start from the Mangalacharanam shloka, Tapobihi, first shloka. Tapobihi kshīṇapāpānaṁ
Tapobihi kshīṇapāpābhyāṁ
Śāntānaṁ vītarāgiṇāṁ
Śāntānaṁ
Vītarāgiṇāṁ
Vitarāgiṇāṁ
Mumukṣūṇāmapekṣyoyam
Mokṣūṇāṁ apekṣaro nobhyam
Ātmabodho vidhīyate
Ātmabodho vibhīyate
Bodhonyasadhanebhyo hi
Bodhanebhyo sadhobhyai.
You have the text with you, no, Bhavani ji?
Yes, I'm trying to open it here. Yeah.
You got it, okay.
Yeah.
Bodhonyasadhanebhyo hi
Bodhanobhyo sadhanebhihi
Sakshan mokṣaikasadhanam
Sakshan moksha visadhanam
Vakasya vannivat jñānam
Pakasya sannibhabhyanam
Vina moksho na siddhyati
Vina moksho vyasiddhyate
Avirodhitaya karma
Abhirobhyati sadho vyakarmaha
Na vidyam vinivartayet
Ma vidyam vinivardayet
Vidya vidyam nihantyeva
Vidya vidyabhyam viniyebhyaha
Tejastimirasangavat
Tejasya vinirava sangyata
Parichinna iva jñānāt
Parichanna vibhagnānāt
Tannāṣe sati kevalaha
Tannāṣe katishe valaha
Svayaṃ prakāṣate hyātmā
Svayaṃ prakāṣata te yātmā
Meghāpāyem shumāniva
Meghāpāyeshu mā vibhaha
ajñānakaluṣaṃ jīvaṃ
ajñānakaluṣaṃ jīvaṃ
jñānābhyāsādvinirmalam
jñānābhyāsādvinirmalam
kṛtvā jñānaṃ svayaṃ naśyejjalaṃ
kṛtvā kriyam naśyejjalaṃ
jalam katakareṇuvat
kareṇuvat
jalam katakareṇuvat.
kalam katakareṇuvat.
Okay. So, studying the text Atmabodha of Shankaracharya. And he got to the point quickly that Sakshan mokshaika sadhanam. This moksha being a purushartha, which is very much unlike artha, karma, artha, kama and dharma. And for it, the sadhanam is jñānam. Jñānam vina, he said moksha is not possible. So that idea was introduced by Shankara upfront. So like that, 10th person, dashamaha iva. For the 10th person to know that, for this person to know that the 10th person is missing, this person has to know that he is the 10th person. There's no other way out. So that's the idea that was said here. And therefore, he said in shloka number 3, avirodhitaya karma. Therefore, any amount of karma in this field means what? In this moksha purushartha is not going to help. Not going to help. Therefore, we can't say, therefore, I'm going to stop doing what I'm doing. That is not acceptable, because we have to do whatever we are supposed to do so that we can gain that technical word, adhikaritvam, the qualifications, the purity, the maturity needed to appreciate all these shlokas. Okay, that's the idea here. And then parichinna iva ajñānāt megapayam shumaniva. That also we saw. That this knowledge is something like how when the clouds move away, the sun reveals itself. And that moksha is siddha vishayaha. I may or may not have told this to you, because too many close courses for me, and then I don't know what I said where. Sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't remember. And 2 courses going parallel, Viveka Chudamani and all. So we're talking about a lot of things. But still doesn't matter. Always good to hear something again. And I used to enjoy when Swamiji used to say something and I knew what he was going to say also, I would guess. Then I would say, so this moksha is what? Praptasya praptihi. In case I didn't tell it, you can note it down. Praptasya praptihi means, in English we said accomplishment of the accomplished, already accomplished. So, praptasya praptihi. Dharma, artha and kama are not in that category. They are all apraptasya praptihi. Gaining what is not gained yet. That is what we know of. And so, that being said, this mega payem shumaniva. Just like when the clouds move away from the sun, it is not like sun was born. It's not like sun came into being. Sun was always there. And so like that. This is the category in which this Atmabodha is coming under. So that moksha comes under. Like that he gave an indication there. Then we started looking at this shloka number 5. Ajñānakaluṣaṃ jīvaṃ. jñānābhyāsādvinirmalam. So now he's talking about how can this jñānam come? How can I get this knowledge? This sounds very fascinating. And the more I study it, the more people I hear other people also talking about it, I cannot but get interested in this. So, how? He says. This jīvaṃ, which is ajñānakaluṣaṃ, who is mixed up with this confusion, with this ajñānam. How can that change, that situation change, he's saying. He's saying, jñānābhyāsādvinirmalam. So that ajñānakaluṣaṃ, that impurity, that contamination is now going to become vinirmalam. Nirmalam. Malam nirgataha yasya saha, or malam nirgatam yasya saha. So the one, malam means impurity. So nirmalam means free of impurity. So pure. So that nirmalam, vinirmalam, visheshena nirmalam. We saw all that last time. And how it's going to happen, he's saying, he says jñānābhyāsāt. Jñānābhyāsaha. Very interesting phrase it is. Occasionally it comes in the Shastra. Other words are used, but here he is saying jnānābhyāsāt. Abhyasa means what? Abhyasa means practice. Abhyasa means you keep doing what you're doing again and again. That's called abhyasa. Abhyasa. Anything we do, we only by doing it repeatedly, we get better at it. Anything you take. Anything. So, that abhyasa is talking about. Cooking also. Cooking, you keep doing it again and again. Then the guy who couldn't figure out what is all this dal, and instead of dal he picks up rice, he doesn't know the difference between rice and dal also. And so that kind of guy also begins cooking, and then makes some good dishes. How? Abhyasateva. But here, jnānābhyāsa is little different, because jñānam is not a karma, abhirodhitaya karma already mentioned, and therefore there is a difference between jnānam and karma. So what do you mean by jnāna? Karma abhyasa, if you say, I can appreciate. Practice makes perfect, they say all this. Okay, so here, it's good to invoke the story of this Brihadaranyaka in one section. Yajnavalkya has 2 wives. This all the senior students know this, but some of you newer students may not know it. Yajnavalkya, a king long ago, had 2 wives. So Katyayani and Maitreyee, those are the names. And one fine day, he told, I am going to leave. I'm going to give up all this, split the kingdom into 2 between both of you. And how will it be if our spouse tells us that, I am going to leave? Means what? It's going to be, I don't know how we're going to take it, right? But this Maitri, the Katyayani was not surprised. She was said, okay, if you want to go. I think they had an indication. And this guy is getting into all this Vedanta and all that. And so sooner or later something will happen like this. Like that they must have realized. So Katyayani said, okay, I'll take it. And I will, thanks to you, I know how to govern a kingdom. So I can do it. Like that she took it up. Maitreyi was no different really. But she had one question. She said, how can a man in your position possibly leave this kingdom? At least if you say, no, I have one wife is a headache, 2 wives is what? Something, some word must be there. So at least if you say that, I can appreciate it. But you don't have any family issues, problems and all. You are very happy. We are happy. You are happy. So that can't be the reason. Managing this kingdom is a problem. Is that the thing? That also can't be a reason. You are the Chakravarti. People love you, and there seems to be almost no enemies. And who does not want this kind of a kingdom? Therefore, that can't be a reason. Therefore, look at her argument. Therefore, there must be something else. And she says, that means what you are seeking by quote unquote running away from this, not running away, leaving the kingdom, you are going to get more joy than what you're getting now at this moment. Is that correct? She says. And Yajnavalkya says, you're correct. You're correct, he says. And then she says, that this is the smart woman, she says, if that is the case, you better teach me what that is. That is how. That is a beautiful story. And so, there, he now gives a big thing about this Ananda that we all are seeking. Where does it come from? Where does it come from? That is the argument he is giving. You think about it. Have you thought about happiness? Where it comes from? And so, Pati starts with husband. Do you think you are getting happiness from your husband? Is that what you're thinking? She says, yeah, I was thinking like that only. Then he says, Nava are patih kamaya patih priyam bhavati. Patih kamaya patih priyam na bhavati, he says. Because you love the husband not because the husband makes you happy. You love the husband, you think you love the husband because husband makes you happy. But then, really speaking, that happiness is very much in you. It is for the sake of the pleased self. Which means what? Because your husband makes you happy, you love your husband. And means what? That happiness is there here. He invokes that joy in you. He invokes the joy. Somehow, mega payem shumaniva. Somehow he has the capacity to remove that cloud that covers you. And therefore, you say, I love you. And then same thing. Nava are jaya yai kamaya jaya priya bhavati. Jaya means wife. One loves the wife not for the sake of the wife, but for the sake of oneself only. Like that he says. Nava are putranam kamaya putraha priyaha bhavanti. He gives a big list. Children are not... You don't love your children for the sake of the children. You love your children for your sake only. Nava are lokaha. Lokanam kamaya lokaha priya bhavanti. Atmanaha kamaya priya lokaha priya bhavanti. Like that he says. People, what about people? You love the people of your country? Yeah, that's because you love them for your own sake, not for their sake. Like that it says. It can be a bit shocking to some of you. It's big shocking. But it need not be shocking because you're all mature people, you all have adhikaritvam. So it need not be shocking. This is Upanishad Vakyam. Upanishad is pramanam for us. Like that he gives a big list. Nava are devanam kamaya devaha priya bhavanti. Atmanastu kamaya devaha priya bhavanti. Devaha, gods. Gods have been helping you, no? Therefore you have Ishta Devatas and all. And he says, no Devata has the capacity to make you happy. Kya baat hai? Don't change what you do. Okay, based on this lecture, don't change anything. Just listen, that's all. Just listen. Just absorb. The Atmanastu kamaya devaha priya bhavanti. All right. And it gives a big list. Okay. Still, Nava are brahmanaha kamaya brahma priyam bhavati. Atmanastu kamaya brahma priyam bhavati. Brahma here means brahmanaha. You have honored brahmanas in the court, I know, I've seen you. And you love all these things. You like all these people because they are loaded with jñānam, knowledge. They talk about things, they debate on topics, and you just keep your eyes open and listen to them. That's how a Brahmana should be, really speaking. Not all this stock trading and all these things. That guy is not a Brahmana. Okay, that's all today. Today the fellow doesn't even know how many Vedas are there. Forget that. And so that Brahmana is called a Brahma. Then Navare Kshatrasya Kamaya Kshatram Priyam Bhavati. Kshatram means Kshatriyaha. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudraha. You like all of them. Atmanastu Kamaya Kshatram Priyam Bhavati. Kshatram can be king also. King. Then he says Lokaha. There only he says Lokaha. Means general people. Then he said something else. Yeah, Bhutani. Then Sarvam. Nava are. Are means lovingly addressing Maitreyi. Are. And Nava are. Sarvasya kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. He puts a full stop there. Sarvam. This is just an example I am giving you. Like in Vibhuti Yoga. In the 10th chapter, Sri Krishna is giving, I am this, I am that. He keeps on telling. Okay, Vedanam Samavedosmi, he says, Nadinam, this one, everything, he gives a big list. But if he cannot enumerate everything, you know. So I'm just giving you a sample. Like that here he is giving a sample. He says, go think about it. Think about it, he says. And so, there at the end of that, he says, Atma va are. So now having introduced Atma to you, this Atma is such a thing. Atma va are drashtavyaha. Drashtavyaha, he says. Atma has to be seen. Seen. Drashtavya here, not literally seen as in seen with the eyes. Drashtavya means has to be known. Known. Drashtavya. Like we say, no, oh, I see. I see. I see means not with my eyes. I see means, oh, I now understand what you're saying. That is the drashtavya here. Must be. Tavya pratyaya. Must. Atma ava are drashtavyaha. Shrotavyaha. Okay, how do I see this Atma then? How do I note this Atma? Shrotavyaha. You have to listen to it. You have to do Shravanam. Here, listen to people who know about all these things. Shrotavyaha. Then what? Then once you listen to it, what will happen? Because it is something to be understood. It is not something to be believed. All those times of belief and all over. There are a lot of things we have to believe. A lot of things we have to believe only. Comes in the belief category. Okay? Devaha. They have the capacity to do all these things. How do you know? How do you know Ganapati is going to remove your obstacles? Vigneshwaraha, we say. Hey, it's Shastroktam. Therefore, I have no reason not to believe it. I'll believe it. I'm an astika. Therefore, like this, I have hundreds of beliefs. That's what makes me an astika. Reasonable beliefs they are. They're not illogical or unreasonable beliefs. Okay? And so, but they are beliefs nevertheless. But this is not like that. Drashtavyaha. Shrotavyaha. For the purpose of understanding. Shravanam. So when I am supposed to understand what is being said, I remember that Tadatmanandaji, long ago, 35 years ago, I was listening to him in Sailorsburg, Ashavidya. He has a series of talks called Finding God Without Faith. Finding God Without Faith. Look at that statement. Means that is what is being said here. Drashtavyaha. It has to be understood. So faith is very important. That's what has got me all the way here. And now drashtavya. Convert that faith to jñānam. So therefore, once I begin to understand, then I am going to have doubts. How is this? How is that? Why not this? Why not that will come? Therefore, he says the next word. After shrotavyaha, he says mantavyaha. Mananam kartavyaha. Mantavyaha. Means remove all your doubts. Samshaya nivaranam kartavyaha ityartaha. Samshaya will be there. Get it resolved. Get all your doubts clarified. Shrotavyaha, mantavyaha. Then what? All doubts are gone. Then what? Then nididhyasitavyaha. This is Brihadaranyaka Upanishad Vakyam. Nididhyasitavyaha. One has to soak in that jñānam. One has to do dhyanam of this, but whatever is understood. Then what is the purpose of jnanam? This nididhyasanam? All life long I've been leading a life of a samsari, thinking that dharma, artha and kama are the main, only thing out there. Now you are talking about me being free already. Aham purnaha you are saying, and aham sarva vyāpti you are saying. Everybody is that same Atma. Even the conscious beings are all Atma, and this Jada Vastu, all the Jada universe that is there out there, as far as the eye can see, that also fundamentally is Atma. You are going to tell me. How am I going to make this a reality for me in my day-to-day life? Nididhyasitavyaha. Because knee-jerk reaction will be there. So the guy comes from the US and then comes to India for a vacation, 2 weeks vacation. And he hires a taxi to go places. And then guess where he goes? Okay. He goes to the side and he opens the door and the driver is sitting there. Why? Because that is, he wants to go to the passenger side, but the driver is sitting in the passenger side. Why? Because this is India, You are living in America, all right. You used to open the door, etc. You exactly know where the driver's seat is. Opposite, it is totally opposite. And so it will take him a little while. He has to do nididhyasanam. What should he do? Nididhyasanam. The driver's seat in India is on the right hand side, and in the US it is on the left hand side. So I have to not go, he has to decide. He has to keep on doing this nididhyasanam until it becomes obvious to him. Give him some time. That is called nididhyasana. Viparita bhavana nivrittihi. Viparita bhavana. Knowledge is there, but at that time it doesn't help me. Why it didn't help me? Because of this years and decades and centuries and so many janmas of living this kind of a life. So he says what? Atmavare drashtavyaha. Then how to drashtavyaha? This is shrotavyaha, mantavyaha, nididhyasitavyaha. This is called jñānābhyāsaha. Jñānābhyāsa. What is the primary method though? Primary is Shravanam. Shravanam is primary because that is the only time I am going to listen to what's what. Otherwise there is no chance. There is no chance. We are not going to sit down after lunch and then pick up a book on Upanishad and read. And even if I read like that, it may not make sense to me. Or it may, I think it makes sense, but because I am so conditioned, I am going to look at the book through the lens of my conditioning only. So that is why Shrotavyaha, not Patitavyaha, he doesn't say. He doesn't say Patitavyaha. This Patanam word is not there in our Shastra. Vedanta Shastram, by the way. Patanam is not. Shastra Patanam occasionally we will say. But I'm studying, we say. But really speaking, it is Shravanam. That Patanam is converted to Shravanam. Patanam is constituted by Shravanam. Shravanam constitutes Patanam. That's all. Because otherwise Patanam can mean many things. Anyway, that is that jñānābhyāsāt. By that jñānābhyāsa, there's another phrase we use for jñānābhyāsa. It's called brahmabhyasaha. Brahmabhyasaha. And there is a shloka that defines what brahmabhyasa is. If you want, you can write this down. Tat chintanam. Okay, tat chintanam, tat kathanam cha. Tat chintanam, tat kathanam cha. Tat chintanam, tat kathanam cha. Take the cha out. Okay, cha. Anushtup chanda. Tat chintanam, tat kathanam, anyonyam, tat prabodhanam. Anyonyam tat prabodhanam. Okay, Anushtup chanda. Anyonyam tat prabodhanam. Etad ekaparam chaiva. Etad ekaparam chaiva. Sorry. Etad ekaparatvam cha. Etad ekaparatvam cha. Okay. Etad ekaparatvam cha. Brahmabhyasam. Brahmabhyasam. Vidurbudhaha. Brahmabhyasam vidurbudhaha. So tat kathanam, tat chintanam, tat kathanam cha. Cha is not there, I think. Tat chintanam, tat kathanam, anyonyam, tat prabodhanam, etadeka paratvancha, brahmabhyasam vidurbudha. Okay? So brahmabhyasam is defined here. Tat chintanam. Your thoughts must be around this topic, this Brahma. Okay, tat chintanam, tat kathanam. When you talk to people, etc., conversations also, this Brahma is there in the conversation. Tat kathanam cha anyonyam tat prabodhanam. So, teaching this to others also. When I am ready, I can teach it. And so, anyonyam tat prabodhanam, etad eka paratvam cha. Means when my life is filled with these activities, then what I am doing is called Brahmabhyasaha. Vidurbudhaha. Wise people refer to Brahmabhyasa as these activities. So you can bring that also here. Jnānābhyāsāt. Essentially, that's what I am doing. Kathanam, and before that, Chintanam is Shravanam. So Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, everything will come in the same thing also. Okay, jñānābhyāsādvinirmalam. Kṛtvā jñānaṃ svayaṃ naśyejjalaṃ. What does this jñānābhyāsa do? Jñānam kṛtvā. Having done the knowledge, having created the knowledge, jñānam kṛtvā. That's all it can do. Jnānābhyāsa will only lead to jñānam. What else can it do? Okay, jñānam kṛtvā svayaṃ naśyejjalaṃ. Svayaṃ naśyejjalaṃ. This is a very technical thing. We have to spend a little time on this. Shankaracharya is loading a lot. So, we have to talk about how knowledge takes place. Why is this Atmabodha different from the Bodha of everything else? Everything else means what? Anatma. Atmabodha versus... The word Anatmabodha is not used anywhere in our Shastram. Anatmabodha. Atmabodha versus Anatmabodha. Knowledge of Atma versus knowledge of everything other than Atma. There are two things in this world. Atma and Anatma. Correct? That is one way to divide, categorize the entire universe. Okay? They have all these Latin names that categorize different species. Okay? Human beings is Homo sapiens and something else. They have all these words. Categorizations. Okay? Okay, fine. That is one type of categorization. For our purposes, the main categorization is what? Atma versus Anatma. Then you've got knowledge of Anatma, and here Yamadharmaraja comes to our assistance. He tells Nachiketa, okay, I'll give you a word for it, and I want to introduce that word. He says, Dve vidye veditavye parachaivaparācha. He is telling this young boy Nachiketa. Two types of knowledges have to be known. Dve vidye veditavye. Two types of knowledges, just for our understanding. Okay? Purposely I am saying knowledges. Two types of knowledges. Okay? Have to be known. Veditavya, he says. And what is that? This Anatma, the Vidya of Anatma is called Aparavidya. And the Vidya of Atma is called Paravidya. Or Paravidya. Aparavidya or Aparavidya, both okay. Both are synonyms only. So Aparavidya, Paravidya. These two have to be known. Or rather, understand that there are these two types of knowledge. That is what it means there. And what you are seeking, hey Nachiketa, is you have grown out of this Aparavidya. You are coming to this area called Paravidya. Parat para parameshwara. Periodically it comes. So parat para. That's a little different, but still. Now, everything I have been studying all my life, all of us have been studying, comes under this category of Aparavidya. We know that very well now. Because every topic is about something out there. Nothing is about myself, the self itself. What about medicine? Medicine is about the self, you know. about the human body. Yeah, human body. But human body, yad drishyam tad anityam tad anatma. Yad drishyam, that which is perceivable, that which is objectifiable is anityam and it is anatma. This is an axiom. That which you can visualize is anatma, is an object. Then who is the subject? The guy who visualizes the object. The guy who perceives the object is the subject. That is the subject. Can I ever perceive the subject? Not possible. Because if you say, I saw the subject, then who is the subject? Who is the object? It's the Anyanya Ashraya will be there. It is not possible. That is why this Shastram is we start this Shastram with a prarthana. That is the beauty. We are getting into the analysis of Ishvara itself when this question comes up. The self, that is why this Jiveshwara Aikyam is such a wonderful thing. And you can't objectify Atma, yet you are supposed to know this Atma. That is why this Vidya is called Paravidya. Saraswati is what? Saras. Saras means apara plus para is called Saras. One who has that Vidya is called Saraswati. So before we go to exam, we won't all these prayers and all we never used to do. My mother used to shout and just keep running and just come run and say, Om Saraswati Namastabhyam Varade Kamarupani Vidyaramam Karishami Siddhirbhavati Sada. Run. Oh. So just to please parents, we used to do all these things. Now we are sitting here and talking about Saraswati. Can you believe that? How the world, this Bhagavan's Leela is just unimaginable, how these things work. And so, that is Saraswati. And then, see, those days, this Navaratri was a joy because it was, we could just enjoy. A lot of people giving all kinds of goodies. And Saraswati Puja was even more enjoyable because that day I am not supposed to study also. When we are waiting for Saraswati Puja. And next morning, get up, take the books and study. Oh my God. So that's how we used to be. And so, therefore, all that knowledge that we studied, English, sciences, physics, this, that, social studies, history on top of everything, and that too all concocted history we studied, we have memorized all kinds of nonsense about India, and we have become so confused because of that. Anyway, that's, if I start talking about it, then that also will become many lectures, which is coming next. We have announced a course called Dharmavidyā. We have announced a course called Dharmavidyā, about 8-week, 9-week course, okay, 9-week course, or 9-hour course if you want to tell like that. And one session is there on history itself. I've included history in Dharma. So just we have to be aware of all these facts. So all this knowledge is all what? Aparavidya. It is all objective sciences. If you want me to translate it, it becomes objective sciences. Means what? Science of object. Science of the object. What about psychology? Psychology is right here. It is all buddhi, manas. That at least must be I, Atma. Sorry. Try again. No. Mind is mind. Mind is a bunch of thoughts and you are objectifying thoughts. You are talking about your experiences. Psychology. Psychology is analysis of experiences so that I can benefit from what I can draw from it, and if I am willing to change myself, then psychology is a wonderful field. Oh, my feelings, my symptoms, these same symptoms I have, anger and whatnot, it is because of these experiences. If a psychologist says, I can appreciate it. And so I can say, I don't have to victimize myself for all the experiences I am going through. So the psychologist will say, if I were you, I will be having the same experience. Look at that. Then I feel little good about that. So there is some benefit from all these things. Psychology. Is psychology Ātmavidyā, Atmabodha? No, it is not. It is not. Because mind also is an object. It's an object. We are studying this in this one. Another text we are studying, it's called Viveka Chudamani. So there is a particular Panchakosha Viveka. Means it helps us that there is a model, our Shastram, when it wants to teach something, they also have certain technical terms and models, like every science. Every science. Clouds, if you study about atmosphere, they have to know about clouds. Different types of clouds will be there. Nimbus cloud, this cloud, that cloud. So, like that, we also have certain terminologies. So, Annamaya Koshaha, Pranamaya Koshaha, Manomaya Koshaha. Kosha itself means not me. Okay, not me. And so, Manomaya. Then mind also is not me. Then what about next? Intellect, Vijnanamaya Kosha, not me. Then there is one more Kosha called Anandamaya Kosha. Like that, the Shastram talks about, helping me see that everything that I've been thinking of myself, all these janmas, is really not me. Therefore, all I'm saying is psychology is also an objective science of the object. What would be the object of psychology? Well, the study of mind, the emotions and its experiences, and connecting the past experiences to the current symptoms, etc. And then that is the whole science. Science. So we can call it science also. Science itself is the study of the object. You tell me what the object is, I will come up with a science. Okay, so that is aparavidya. Aparavidya. And you got paravidya. Knowledge of the subject. Knowledge of the self. Everything else being non-self. Alright. Now, in order to understand what Shankara is about to say, we have to understand one more thing. How does any knowledge take place? That we have to understand. Okay? And he says, this is how you understand. This process of knowing is like this. Just look at this perception. You see an object there. You open your eyes, see the object. And then an image of the object gets created. Image. And then you say, oh my God, the tree is now full of flowers. 2 days back it had no flowers. Tree is full of. So now what happened? First, the image of the object is created. Creation of the image of the object is called vṛtti vyāpti. Vṛtti is what? A thought form, a form. When I was looking at the books, there was no idea of tree at all. Suddenly, when I look up, suddenly the vṛtti has happened. That form is called a vṛtti in Sanskrit. Vṛtti vyāpti. Vyāpti means what? Pervasion. Pervasion means what? Pervasion means the mind is now occupied with that particular image. The book is gone. Atmabodha is gone. Tree is there. Thank God the mind is like that. Only then we are able to see so many things. We are constantly changing. Vṛttis are constantly changing. So vṛtti vyāpti, the image is formed, but then now I have to conclude something about this image. The eye is not going to tell me it is a tree that I am looking at. The eye is only going to present an image. Colors and some kind of forms are all there. Even form it doesn't. It is this one whole palette is there. Within that there is something. Now the buddhi has to analyze this palette, a picture, a photograph is there. Now I have to look at the photograph and tell who is who in this photograph. Like that, now the process is starting. After the image is formed, the buddhi is saying, oh, this tree, first of all there is a tree and then it is fully blossomed, that also is there. Now I can say so many things about this tree. Correct? That second step is called phala vyāpti. Phala vyāpti. Vṛtti vyāpti image. Phala vyāpti conclusion. Phalam. What is the result of this whole perception process? Why did you look that way and see? Why? What is the use of the eyes? Eyes creates images and then it produces something. Finally, you conclude something about these objects. That is called phala vyāpti. Whatever you conclude is called phalam. Whatever you conclude is called phalam. Suppose I show you this and then I remove it. I show you this and then I remove it. All you can say is Guruji has something in his hand and you can begin guessing what it is. But many of you might say, no, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is also a conclusion. I see an object but I don't know what it is. If he brings it closer, maybe I can see what it is. So I bring it closer and then it is called kantil, kushal kantil. Or in Hindi he says kushal kantil, he says. Oh, kantil it must be. Kantil. So it is all this little, for cough and all that, you put this in the mouth and some Ayurvedic concoction it is. Okay. That's what it is. So when I got all this cough last month, I told you I got from Amazon. I'm getting this from this other Flipkart and from this and that. All courier services are coming to me, and then everybody, Guruji, you should take this. You should take this. So now right here I have everything with me. Any cough, anything, I can just decide what to take and then swallow. Swalin is there right here. So I don't know what it is. Is also a conclusion. That also is a phala vyāpti only. I don't care about it. Phala vyāpti. Can you tell me more about it? Good. Phala vyāpti. It is triggering for more. So what is it? Vṛtti vyāpti and phala vyāpti. 2 steps. And what that phala vyāpti is that idea is now, that object is illuminated in my mind. The object is present, vṛtti is present, but the vṛtti has to be illuminated for me to come up with all these conclusions. That illumination part is the phala vyāpti. The vṛtti is the initial creation of the thought form, and the thought has to be maintained. As long as I am going to talk about this kushal kantil, you have to keep visualizing it. Your thought is there, your mind is there. So the initial part is called vṛtti vyāpti. The final part where that object is now concluded about, and those thoughts are all sustained by the mind. In the mind, shall I say, is called phala vyāpti. Okay. Now, in fact, the word vishayaha, in Sanskrit there is a word called vishayaha. In every language you will have this word vishay. Vishay to hai hi. Kya vishay hai, we say, What's news? Kya vishay? You know what the meaning of the word vishay? It comes from the Sanskrit dhatu si. Sinoti badnati. Vishinoti badnati. Badnati, binds. That which binds is called vishayaha. That which binds. What definition is this? I don't understand this definition. Vishayaha and that which binds. An object is also called a vishaya. Any topic is called a vishaya. Okay. That which binds means what? Hey, when you look at this object, the tree example, immediately the mind, which has the capacity to go all over, suddenly is bound by this object. Correct? It is bound means what? It is arrested by this object. How about that? I'm trying to use the right word here. It takes the shape of this object. The mind takes the shape of this object. Nothing else. That's why it's called binding. And of course, later on we will say in Vedanta that this Vishaya binding has a different meaning also. Indriyasya indriyasyarthe ragadvesho vyavasthitau tayorna vashama gachet tauhi asya paripanthino. Hey, all objects are there, you use it, you feel blessed that you all have all these things, including children and spouse and relatives and all. Don't come under their spell. Krishna will tell later. That also, otherwise they will bind you. That is another meaning. That also is Vishaya only. Indriyasya arthaha, the object of the Indriyani. Vishaya. All right. So that is just by the way. Okay. And so now we are talking about this is the process that is happening for the knowledge of any object. Atma is now my object of study. Atmabodha it is. It is not vriksha bodha. It is not nakshatra bodha. Okay? It is not Samskrita bodha. Samskrita bodha. And I once asked my class Sanskrit teachers, after giving an introduction, I asked them, Sanskrit, is it aparavidya or paravidya? You know what all of them said? Paravidya. I said, try again. Try again. Because, Deva Bhasha, how can Deva Bhasha be aparavidya? Please tell me. Is it possible? It is possible. It is possible. Anyway, Samskrita Vidya, all Vidyas all in the Paravidya category. Ātmavidyā, the way it works is, he's telling it, he says, here also vṛtti is needed. What is needed? That vṛtti vyāpti is needed. Because there is Atma and I have to know it. So what if Atma is I have to know it. If somebody says, I don't know Atma now. Okay, Narada said, right? Mantravidevasmi natu Ātmavidyā, he said. Okay, I know all the mantras, entire Veda I know, but I don't know Atma, he says. Okay, so therefore I must know Atma. Shastram says very well, I must know it. Bodhonya sadhanebhyo, he says here. So I need that vṛtti. Vṛtti is the starting point. Starting point. So vṛtti takes place. What vṛtti takes place? Whatever the idea of Atma is, takes place. Satyam, Mithya, all these words we will get a chance to study. All that will take place. Okay. And then what? Then I said phala vyāpti means that idea should be sustained by in the mind. The Atma sustains it in the mind, illumines. That idea has to be illumined. And guess what? The illuminator is Atma, and you want to illuminate Atma? Who is going to illuminate this Atma? Nobody is going to illuminate the Atma. Nobody needs to illuminate the Atma. Atma is the only thing that illuminated every vṛtti all along. And therefore, this phala vyāpti is not there for this Atmabodha, for this Ātmavidyā. That is to be understood. Phala vyāpti is not there. Why? Because Atma itself reveals. It is like saying, like you first remove the cover. There is an object that is covered by a pot. Okay? There is a small object which is covered by the pot like this. So the first step is removing the cover. Okay? By opening the eyes, whatever. Removing the cover. And then there is an object that is seen. But you know what? To see this object, light has to be there. Without light, you can't see this object. Light has to illuminate. The object is not luminary, so it has to illuminate. But if I say there is a lamp, small lamp, and it is covered by a pot, and if I remove the pot, what is required to illumine this lamp? What is required to illuminate? You don't need a flashlight. You don't need a torchlight to illumine this lamp. You don't even need these lights that are burning in this room to illumine this lamp. Lamp burns by itself. It illumines. And therefore that phala vyāpti is not there. Very technical. But it's important. Why is it important if you ask? Why are you talking like this? And why is it so important? It is so important because he is saying jnanameva mokshaha. Jnanam vina moksho na siddhyati. And that jnanam has to be permanent. It has to be permanent. It is not like I can't say I got moksha 2 days back. What about today? Today I have to get moksha again. Somehow I forgot. This forgetting idea cannot be there with this knowledge. Cannot be there. You think about it. Jnanam means all problems will come. I have forgotten so many things. And I remember so many things that I studied also. This forgetting problem will be there. Moksha cannot be subject to the forgetting problem. That is why this is so important. What is so important? That vṛtti takes place, and then that's it. After that, there is nothing else. Atma is revealed to me as myself, the shining me, which is what is illumining this entire universe, which is what is sustaining the entire universe. If you want me to say all these things, I am the adhishtanam of the Jagat, Jagad adhishtanam. Jagad adhishtatri is there in Lalita Sahasranama. Okay, that is who I am. And there is no need to illumine that once I know it. That's what he's saying here. Kṛtvā jñānaṃ svayaṃ naśyejjalaṃ. Svayaṃ naśyejjalaṃ means what? That vṛtti disappears. That vṛtti disappears. Once that knowledge vṛtti takes place, that vṛtti does not need any more light. That light is right there, which is me really speaking, because it is not an object. Okay, bit technical I told you. Svayaṃ naśyejjalaṃ. And now Shankaracharya gives a brilliant example for it. Brilliant example. Okay, he is saying jalam katakareṇuvat. What an example he gives. I'll tell you what it's an example about. Renu. Renu means powder. Renu means pollen seeds are all called renu. This fine powder. This fine, that single atom of the dust is called renu. Renu. You know, talcum powder if you take, you know how smooth it is. It is smooth, but don't think there is nothing out there. You can there are particles. They are also particles only. You may not feel it, but it's a particle. That is called renu. Renu. Okay. Renuka, we have words called Renuka. I was looking up Renuka, the meaning of Renuka. Very odd it is. Odd means what? It's a perfume. Sugandha Visheshaha, it is called. And so it is some kind of a perfume. And etc. They give some meanings. So that entity is called Renuka. But here we don't have to worry about that. Renu. That dust. Then there is something called katakareṇu. Okay, katakareṇu. So in Hindi it is called nirmali. I think it's called nirmali. There is a particular nut, a beetle nut like nut, that they powder. They keep our ancestors used to use it, and they keep that powder, and they use the powder in our drinking water. They'll put a little bit of that in the pot of water. Okay, and then what this particular powder will do, and then they mix it up. What it will do, it will catch hold of all the suspended impurities, and then just trap them, and then coagulate, and then settle down. Coagulation. It's a coagulant. And so they used to throw this in the lakes and all that to purify the water in the lake. Okay. An environmental science. It's an environmental science as far as water and other things are concerned. That is called katakareṇu. Katakareṇu. Some of you may know it. Okay, may know it. And it's called tetran kottai in Tamil. Tetran kottai. Okay. That is what, when I googled, that's what I found. Tetran kottai, tetran vidai, etc. It is there, very much there. That is called katakareṇu. And just like the katakareṇu comes in, mixes everything, and then it catches hold of all these things and then it disappears. Svayaṃ naśyejjalaṃ. You can't find katakareṇu in the water. You look at water is crystal clear. You can't find this powder at all. It is all settled down at the bottom. Like that, he says. This Ātmavidyā is like this, in this category. Moksha cannot be temporary. Cannot be temporary. And so, Shankara used this argument somewhere, when doing Purva Paksha Siddhanta, in certain places, he will do that. He will explain the Siddhanta. What is our Advaita Vedanta? He will talk. Then a Purva Pakshi is introduced. He will say, no. This Sankyas are saying that this Paramanu is Satyam. Paramanu is understanding Paramanu is called moksha, like that he will say. Becoming Paramanus is moksha. A Paramanu becoming cannot be moksha because Paramanu is also anityam. No, it is nityam. No, it can't be nityam. Anything that has a form, name, shape, etc. is anityam only. And nobody wants anitya moksha. Everybody wants nitya moksha. Like that he makes a point. Everybody wants moksha. And what kind of moksha? Not temporary moksha. That is why going to heaven also and be there forever, that is critical. It is not for a visit. Nobody is going to heaven for a visit. Nobody wants to in any religion. And so, a bit technical, all right. But understand, this is what makes us who we are. And like the Dashamaha, not a difficult example. Dashamaha is there, correct? The 10th person. You tell this guy, the person you are looking for is you. Bhavan Dashamaha. Suppose you say that. And the minute he understands it, he understood it, okay, that is a vṛtti. And now what? Now he has to do japa of this thing? Aham dashamaha, aham dashamaha, aham dashamaha. No, he is free. His sorrow is all gone. All the tears have dried up. Instantaneously dried up, he is jumping with joy. Nothing. Will he forget that he is the 10th person? Okay, because it's an example, all this forgetting and all is possible. But it's not possible. It's not possible. He is free, that's it. Once you are free, you are free. Like that, Dashamaha. Person was scared because the person saw a rope. Saw a snake. And he is scared. Totally scared. Until somebody came and said, why are you scared? Don't go there. Don't even open the door. There is a snake there. Then the person figured out what the problem is. Then he says, come with me. Now hold on to my hand. And then, what do you mean? Don't open the door, I told you. No, you just come with me. I'll take care of you. Don't worry. Open the door. Show me. Where is the snake? No, look, there is snake there. Okay, turn around this side. Tell me, where is the head of the snake? Yeah, look, that is the head of the snake. Look carefully. Look carefully. Oh my God, it is a knot. It's a knot. K-N-O-T, knot. Yeah, look at the rest. It is curving, no? It's curvy like this it is. Yeah, look at carefully. It's a rope. Yeah, can a rope curve? Yeah, rope also can curve. Look carefully. Yes, it's a rope. Now this guy, having figured out it's a rope, can he ever see a snake there? Not possible. Not at all possible. Does he have to do some japa to figure out that this is a snake? This is a rope? No, nothing is required. Something like that. Svayaṃ naśyejjalaṃ means what? After that vṛtti is not required at all. Okay? And vṛtti of Atma is not possible, really speaking. Because Atma is the one that illuminates everything. And so the vṛtti of Atma is required. Vṛtti of the Swarupa of Atma is required. Because right now I am an ajñāni. The ajñānam is covering. Ajñānam is covering what? Covering what? Covering the knowledge of Atma. We saw that earlier. Mega payem chumaniva. Ajñānam is there. It's an entity. Last time I said positive entity, I think. And so I wanted to clarify. And that word positive creates confusion. It is an entity. It's an entity like anything else. That is what I meant. It's an existing entity. It's not an absent entity. It is not like rabbit's horns. Some people, I'm watching if everybody got it or not. Rabbit's horns. How many horns a rabbit has? Rhinoceros has one horn. Rabbits have no horns. Okay, good. All right. So, that ajñānam is not like rabbit's horns. Rabbit's horns is a non-existent entity. We have just given a word, a phrase for it. But then, this ajñānam is an entity. In that sense, I meant positive. But take the word positive out. Because this positive, negative can have different connotations. It's an existent entity. That's what I meant. So, to remove that existent entity, I need an opposing vṛtti. And that vṛtti is that, they use a word for it. It's called akhaṇḍākāra vṛtti. Akhaṇḍākāra vṛtti means what? Every vṛtti has a shape. Every vṛtti is finite. Tree is finite. Every object is finite, finite, finite. Even a thought is finite. All my past autobiography, everything is finite, 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 finite. Even the nakshatra galaxy is finite. All the galaxies that people figure out, it's all finite. Finite. Infinite cannot be objectified. No chance. Only symbol infinite you can write. That's about it. Nobody knows what infinite is. And we leave it aside. We leave it alone. But that infinite and Atma are going to be connected. Can't be objectified. That is the idea he's bringing. It's just loaded shloka, I'm telling you. And when I heard Swamiji, he was describing these things earlier itself. I was trying to postpone it as much as possible. Now I decided I will not postpone it anymore. Okay? That's the joy of the teacher. We can decide what to do when, But anyway, jalam katakareṇuvat. Yatha katakareṇuh. Just as katakareṇuh, jalam. Or should I put this? Yatha katakareṇuh jalam vinirmalam is there. Jalam vinirmalam kṛtvā svayaṃ naśyeti. You have to complete the sentence like that. Yatha katakareṇuh jalam vinirmalam kṛtvā svayaṃ naśyet. Something like that you have to say. Tatha. Like that. And then fill up the sentence. jñānābhyāsāt jīvaṃ vinirmalam kṛtvā svayaṃ naśyet. Like that you have to connect the example with the topic. Connect the example is drishtāntaha. What is being discussed is dashtantaha. So that is the way to connect the drishtanta and dashtantaha. Alright. Good.
Guruji, can you expand upon akhaṇḍākāra vṛtti a little more?
Expand. I don't want to. It is an expanded vṛtti. It's akhanda, Akhanda. So, khandam na vidyate yasya. Akhandaha. So, it has no limit. A vṛtti that has no limit is called akhaṇḍākāra vṛtti. Okay. Every knowledge is preceded by a vṛtti. You have to objectify something. And that vṛtti is finite. And you can hold on to the finite vṛtti, and Atma is there to illumine that finite vṛtti. Now this vṛtti is just amazing. It is akhaṇḍākāra vṛtti. Atma is not a finite thing. Therefore you cannot say, oh, I just visualized Atma. You can't say that. Because if you can only visualize what is finite. Therefore you have a very, very interesting problem here. And if it's the scientist will constantly think about this and say, how is it possible? How can I settle down with something that I cannot know? Like that, if you ask, that answer is, it is akhaṇḍākāra vṛtti. That vṛtti comes And then you say over, then I got it. There is no object. You can't say that is Atma. You can't point your finger to it. That is why the phala vyāpti is not there. You can't point your finger to it. Because there is no object. Atma is not an object. Atma is the self. And that is why in Kenopanishad he says, you know what he says? Now I have the license to bring all these things. Since I gave you the background, he says, Yadi manyate suvedeti. Yadi manyase suvedeti. If you say that you have understood Atma, that means if you say that you have objectified Atma, then you really haven't understood Atma. Yadi manyase suvedeti. No na vedeti vedacha. No na veda. You really don't understand this Atma. And then athanu mimamse mevate. Then you better go back and do more shravanam, he says. Then finally the student is asked, what about you? Do you know Atma or not? He says, manye viditam. He says, Atma is understood, he says. He puts it in passive voice. Passive voice. This is the language. Look at that. Manye viditam, he says. Manye. Atma is understood by me. By me, Atma is known. Like that he said. Because I know Atma means I have to point to Atma, And so that burden I don't have when I put it in passive voice. This is how it is. This is called Advaita Vedanta Shastram. Okay. So that's how it is. So it's not difficult or anything. I never say anything is difficult. Sanskrit is difficult. You look at how many people in the class are studying Sanskrit, teaching Sanskrit. They are teaching teachers also. That's how far they have come. They were saying Sanskrit is difficult and all. Ask them now. They love Sanskrit. They get up in the morning and start a 6:30 class. So nothing is difficult. Anyway, this is technical, but that idea is mentioned here. I think you can look up the English translation and frame a sentence based on what we discussed today. Okay? Is that fine? No thumbs up? Okay, few thumbs up. Alright. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.